Crow was a dog built from storm-black streaks and silence, named for the dark line that trailed from his snout to the tip of his spine. He only barked when it mattered, and today he broke gate. Wade Cridge, weather-beaten and saddle-sore, trusted Crow more than any man he'd ridden with since the war. They were just 30 miles from the edge of Sundown County when Crow's ears twitched. He turned, nose low to the dirt, then bolted toward the hardpan beyond the cactus line. Wade clicked his tongue, spurred the mare, and followed without question. They passed a fence post long forgotten, a sun-bleached skull tangled in rusted wire, and a boot sunk deep in the dust. This land belonged to the lost. Crow halted beside a boulder, whined low. Wade dismounted, boots sinking into cool morning soil already baking under the sun. She lay curled in the rock's shadow like she'd tried to bury herself alive. Her skin was ash gray, lips split, dress torn like she'd fled through brambles and beasts. Her breath was faint, but it was there. Crow stood guard as Wade dripped water between her lips. She convulsed, coughed dust, eyes fluttering, but not waking. He hoisted her onto his mare, tied her limp arms to keep her steady, and rode for the half-rotted shack hidden beyond the cottonwoods, a place Wade hadn't seen since. Spring rains caved in the roof. It would do inside. He stripped his shirt for bandages, poured whiskey into wounds. She didn't wake, only flinched. Her body was hollow, bird-boned, barely there. Someone had hunted her, or left her for worse. Crow slept by her side, muzzle on his paws. Wade kept the rifle across his lap. 2 days passed before she opened her eyes, green, not soft, but deep and ancient. "Do you know where you are?" Wade asked. "No," she said. Then, quieter, "Don't know my name." He didn't believe her, but sometimes lies protected the kind of truth that couldn't yet be spoken. "You got a mark?" he asked. She raised her wrist. There, burned into her skin, was a ring-shaped scar, deliberate, old world. Wade recognized it. Years ago, in another life, he'd been promised to a girl from East Missouri. Ruth Vexley. Her mother had marked her against evil. That same symbol had been sealed on a letter Wade once received before cattle, before war, before everything broke. The girl before him might have been Ruth, or what was left of her. She healed, slowly, watched everything, spoke little. When Crow left the room, she missed him. Wade saw it in the twitch of her fingers against the cot's edge. One morning she asked, "Why'd you stop?" "Crow found you, and you didn't leave." "Me, didn't seem right. You've done wrong things before." He didn't deny it. She nodded like she'd already known. On the 6th day, she stood. Wade gave her a shirt, a belt. She wore it like armor. "You need a name. I like Ruth." Wade didn't flinch. "Ruth it is." That night, she whispered to the air, not to Wade, "I think I was supposed to find you." Later, Wade caught her trying to make fire bare-handed, striking stone with bleeding fingers. "Who did it?" he asked. "They thought I was dead." She stayed, helped mend the roof, boil water, collect wood. Every night she turned that burn mark on her wrist toward the fire like it might guide her somewhere. Then one evening, she stood at the shack's door, Crow beside her. "I want to find them," she said. "I'll need a gun." Wade handed her his father's Colt Navy. She gripped it like she already knew its weight. Something had been set in motion. She learned to shoot fast, clean, hit every bottle, every tin, every bone-nailed scarecrow wing. He placed for practice. Her hands steadied, back straightened, voice hardened. They found the first rider buried beneath brush, dead, branded with the coin of the Sundown Riders. Wade had heard of them. Not quite outlaws, not quite soldiers, just knives for hire. Ruth held the coin. "He was one of them, you remember?" "I remember the man who gave me to them, my father." Her voice didn't waver. They rode to Dust Whip, a ghost town clogged with salt and sin. Ruth walked straight into the general store, dropped the black coin on the counter. "Where's the man who carries these?" "Third camp, Black Ridge." The clerk muttered, fear lining his face. The ridge was all rock, iron stakes, and cursed land. They killed the sentries before the men around the fire even smelled death coming. To die before they drew. One ran. Ruth didn't miss. One man she knew. He called her name. "You were supposed to die," he said. "Your father's rich now. Land's gone. You're gone." She shot him in the knee. "I lived," she said. then shot him again in the heart. They burned the camp. But Ruth wasn't finished. "St. Ellison," she said, "that's where the lies live." There. They broke into the courthouse. She found the deed her family's land signed over, her name marked as deceased. "You can't undo it, Templeton." The buyer later told her at the mansion. "No," she replied. "But you can pay." She shot him through the eye later. Beneath the sycamores, she told Wade. "You could leave." "I won't," he said. "I think you were meant to find me." Crow barked once in agreement. Ruth's war didn't end. It shifted. She remembered another girl, a child stolen from her father's house like her. Stonewater was 5 days' ride. A broken mining town. They found the girl, Elsie, thin as a wire, stitching a sackcloth doll. Ruth knelt. "I remember you. You had a ribbon." Elsie blinked. "They took it." Ruth said, "I'm here to burn it all down." Cyrus hobboned the mine. Ruth didn't go straight for his throat. She rallied the town men who'd buried daughters and sisters. 20 came with knives, picks, rage. The guards never stood a chance. Hub begged. It was just business. "I was 7, Ruth said, then shot him through the throat. They left Stonewater in ash. Ruth, Wade, and Elsie never cried. Learned to shoot, learned to track. Ruth taught her like she was planting a future into dry earth. Wade watched, worked. The towns left messages for the forgotten. The ash mark became their banner, a scar made into purpose. One night, Ruth stood by the wheat field. "You ever wonder," she asked Wade, "what would have happened if I stayed dead?" "No," he said. "Why not?" "Because you didn't, and everything after that is yours." She looked to Elsie, ribbon in her hair, knife on her belt. "No," she said, "it's hers now," and that was enough.